is Keith Swingle from NetVPro, and today we have Btandon Duckworth with us from Kroolo. Kroolo is, and I kind of wrote this down so we make sure we get it right. So Kroolo is an AI-powered productivity tool which is designed to help users manage goals, projects, tasks, teams, chats, and documents all in a single pane of glass. Um, Aims to transform the way people work by providing intuitive and comprehensive platform for organizing, managing various aspects of their professional lives. How was that? That was pretty good. So
You got it.
that's a combination platter of Keith's brain and large language models. So no, it's good. I'm glad it's a good summary. So yeah, we have Btandon here, and we're going to go over a bit of what Kroolo is and some of the capabilities it has, and then I just have a few additional questions and comments for you we can go through. But Btandon, if you're able to talk about it, if you have anything prepared, why don't you talk about who
Yeah, we're
you
going to
are and
walk
your
through
experience? Yeah.
through the platform. But my name is Btandon Duckworth, and I'm a principal engineer here at Kroolo. And my specialty area is obviously the product platform of Kroolo, but I'm also a cybersecurity engineer. And I've been doing this for about 15 years. Specialized experience with cloud architecture, so applications like this that are built in the cloud. And then I'm also joined here by Johnsson, our global vice president of sales. So I'm sure he can help me fill in any gaps and questions that I can't answer. That's why he's here. But I'd love to take everyone through the platform and kind of explore
Mhm.
what we do. It's not going to take long, 15-minute overview, just kind of everything Kroolo does and kind of where we're positioned in the market. And if anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to interrupt me. I can get winded at times, so just interrupt me if you need, and I'll be happy to take you through anything that you might be curious about.
Let me jump in for a second, just let everyone know that we are intending to be conversational. So as Btandon said, if you have questions, feel free to ask them. That's fine. And hopefully we can have a good exchange of information and get everyone a good sniff of what Kroolo is about.
All right, I'll just share my screen here, and everyone should be able to see the web interface of the platform. Is that zoomed in good for everyone? Can everyone see that? I might just zoom it just a bit because I'm blind. All right. Well, the core of the Kroolo platform, obviously, we think of ourselves as an AI work OS. So what that kind of means is AI is interwoven in kind of everything that we do. Right. It's not just a project management platform that's got a kind of the smattering of Ask AI, features. This product is built from the ground up with artificial intelligence or general artificial intelligence in mind on almost every feature that we have. The core and the foundation of the product is built on project management. And so what differentiates us in the market is we're actually able to pull data from almost any of the major project management softwares that exist. And we're also capable of generating projects on the fly using AI, kind of how you would prompt something like ChatGPT to build content. So whether this is a marketing project, I can have a simple prompt and I can tell it what I want, and then it will generate that project for me. So that's one aspect of this where you can tell AI, in a prompt format of what you're after in terms of a project, and then it will build it for you. But where the beauty of this really shines in project management is we have the capability to take documentation from the platform and have it build projects. So instead of just prompting my way to project heaven, let's say I had something like an RFP document that was due that I needed to really walk through and pay attention to. We have the capability called add knowledge, where I can take a piece of documentation, whether that be a spreadsheet or a PDF. I could feed that to the system and I could say, hey, can you use the attached documentation to build a project? And this happens to be an RFP document. And so it just takes seconds. And Kroolo will actually analyze everything in that PDF, and it will actually build a project based on that RFP. So in this case, we want to build a response for it, right? We just got an inbound RFP, who knows what it is for. Um, And we can now build a project based on everything that's in that information. Now, before I can insert this, I still have the full power of AI to leverage subtasks or, flesh it out even more before I insert it into the system. And then when I do insert it into the system, I got this beautiful digital project like you would see in a normal project management software. Now, what are the advantages of the Kroolo platform once you have this beautiful project that's built? Well, as I start to flesh out this project and give it some life, we give you the capability to, again, use AI to explore data. And so as this project progresses, more people get added to the project to complete tasks. I have an AI assistant that you can think of as a junior project manager that sits here and it's able to give you answers about any of the metadata that could be attached to this. Is there anything at risk? Who's overloaded with tasks? How many high priority versus low priority tasks do we have? Literally any of the metadata that's available in the project. You don't have to sit here and dig through like you would a spreadsheet. You can simply ask the AI assistant your question, and it'll dig through the project data, and it will find the answer for you. Now, a very unique portion of Kroolo is we have our own machine learning layer, our own AI that we've built, and it's trained to use all the popular models to interact and build content. So we're not just stuck with ChatGPT under the hood, we're multimodal. And that means we have access to all these pretty LLMs like Anthropic, Claude, ChatGPT. We're actually exploring DeepSeek R1 right now, which is the Chinese model that you might have heard of in the news. So that's another thing that we're able to train on. So what makes Kroolo so flexible is we have a governance layer of AI that's able to look at other models and train itself on how to manipulate those layers to build content, to create projects, to analyze things. So again, once I have this beautiful project built, we also have the capability to look at this project in multiple formats. So most of the time when you're looking at a project, you're going to have it in something we call a list view, or most companies call a list view. But what if I want to look at this in some other popular, views? The kind of the second most popular view you'll find for a project is called a Kanban. There's a project out there called, or a product out there called Trello. It's kind of a copy of Kanban. All these project management softwares have this, and it's basically the ability to look at things in a board format, and it gives you the capability to drag and drop these tasks back and forth and put them in different areas. But Kroolo is fully customizable. We have all kinds of different views. You want to do risk analysis in your project, you want to chat with other colleagues and have a channel directly attached to the project. We're also a communications utility as well. So you don't have to drop what you're doing, go to Teams, go to Slack. You can have a conversation directly with the project. We also have AI assisted analytics. So when I look at this project, I have a dashboard that we've created on the fly and generated for you. But hey, if I'm sitting here looking at this and maybe I think of a chart or a graph that I don't have, you can simply tell AI to generate that for you. So what if I wanted a chart that breaks everything down by task status? I didn't see that when I first got here. I'm going to tell the AI to build that, right? And so I want this in a pie format. It's going to ask me a couple questions. I, again, wanted things by status, so it was smart enough to, kind of articulate what I wanted. And then I'm going to have it generate that. And AI will build you that graphical chart that you can then drag and drop directly into the project. This is exactly what I wanted. I wanted things split by task status. And I'm just going to add this to the dashboard. And now this becomes a fully drag and droppable entity that I can play around with in my final dashboard. And you can just build to your heart's content and get all your data put together. So that is the project system. When we start to walk outside the project system, we get to talking about, well, hey, what if I have multiple projects that I'm working on for a customer? What if I want to merge for analytics? What if I want to keep things together for organization purposes? Well, we call that portfolios. So a portfolio is a group of projects. So for example, in my particular UI, I've got two projects that are software development projects that I've kind of mocked up. One of them is a directory integration product, and the other one is a bug tracking sheet. Well, I want to merge these together and keep them in a portfolio. And what that does is it gives me an organized area of both projects. So I can look at the hierarchy. I can actually create dependencies. I can say, well, this project is dependent upon this project. I still have all the same views, but it merges the data from both projects. And now I have a unified dashboard for anything that's in this portfolio. So it's a really good way to merge analytics. It's a good way to group projects together. It's also a good way to build dependencies when you have multiple projects that are in play. So then we have things more simple than projects. A project, if you think about it in its base form, has a beginning and an end. It has subtasks, it has due dates, right? It's a complex moving animal. What if I need something just to track a list? Maybe I've got some leads from a business or sales show that I went to. Maybe I'm a manufacturing entity and I've got just some tasks that I need to track because we have a safety audit coming up, right? We call that a board. So a board is just a simple way to track a list of things. It doesn't have a beginning and an end. It's just a place for you to put data. Again, you have AI to create these boards. So if you've got a spreadsheet that you've been living in and you want AI to take a look at that and maybe convert that into a board, or maybe you just want to prompt your way to a board, you can do that. This particular example, I just told it to build me an org chart, and it actually makes more sense as a Kanban. And it was able to, just come up with a basic organization chart for a business, right? And so it's smart enough to build those types of things, and then give a lot of life to the actual list that you're trying to track. So boards are just places to put simple information that you're trying to track. We wanted a way for you to do, you know what? I don't want something as complex as a project to track, and you can just put information like that in the board. So before I move away from kind of the core focus of projects and things, is there any questions about any of this that I can answer?
You
I
had
have
sorry.
no. Go
I
ahead,
had a
Jamie.
question.
Yeah,
You were
shoot.
showing the different views like from list
Hmm.
and Kanban. Is there like a calendar view? And I'm only asking because I know like
There
a lot of
is.
marketers like to see calendar views.
Yeah, let's look at one real quick. So I've got some projects that have got some older due dates. Maybe this one right here, my directory integration product. So you see it has a calendar view. And if I
Oh,
go
okay,
back, I
perfect.
go I go back a week or two, you can see that it beautifully puts the calendar item and has the task there associated with it. We also have what you would call a timeline view, which is very similar to a Gantt chart. And so this is nice because it shows you how things are interconnected, kind of like how a Gantt
Oh,
chart is, right?
that's
So you can make
great.
these beautiful charts of things. And one of the
Okay.
things we're working on is you'll notice how this task right here is connected to this task. If I
Mm-hmm.
drag this, the due date for this gets dragged out, the attached dependency will also come with it. Not a lot of
Oh,
project management softwares will do that, right? So
wow.
it's really,
Okay.
really, really handy
Yes.
when it comes to tracking. And these views are fully customizable. There's tons of these things, right? And you can kind of get what you like for default, and kind of go from there. In fact, I know probably none of us on the call are software engineering teams, but you can actually sync our project to code repositories as well. So if you're a software development team and you're looking to automate pull requests and things like that, and you're working on bugs, we do sync with all the major code repositories as well. So Bitbucket, GitLab, and GitHub. So if we step
So
outside of,
you integrate with the large language models. So theoretically, you could have that write the code for you.
yeah, you can build an agent that writes code. Yeah, I do that all the time just to see what it's going to do for certain tasks.
That's nice
Yeah,
and kind of creepy, but nice.
yeah, we'll demonstrate some
Cool.
of that when we get to agents. But yeah, it'll definitely write code.
I missed the
I
beginning. My name is Michael. Hey, I am sorry about that. I just had a quick question. I don't know if this was mentioned before, but how does it integrate with CRMs, like other CRMs? If we're using like ConnectWise or something like that, does it already integrate into the projects that we're already doing through those?
Yeah, no. So we have a couple of integrations with CRMs. I don't necessarily associate ConnectWise with the CRM.
Mm.
I know that in my head as like a remote desktop sharing. They might have
No,
stepped
no, no.
outside.
ConnectWise manage.
ConnectWise managed. They might have a different module or product they now that serves as a CRM. Yeah, let me tell you how that works. So basically, each project has an automation area, and these automations can be built. So when an event happens, it can kick off and create something or update a field in another product. So the only CRM we're tied to right now is HubSpot, but we're open to suggestions. If you want a custom automation built for ConnectWise, we can certainly do that as long as ConnectWise has an open API that's fully defined. We can explore doing that. So if you want a project to be updated and then that update a field inside of ConnectWise, then we can make that happen very easily. Yeah, we're
Brandon,
constantly adding these.
on that, in that kind of similar vein, I was going to ask if you are managing, let's say, a diverse project team across maybe different businesses or different entities, and let's just say, for example, you're using Asana. Let's use that for example. And I saw that there was a interface or integration with Asana. Does that mean that you can, like, as the owner of the project, let's just describe it that way, that you can design basically the layout of the project and tasks, all those things, and does it export into Asana so the rest of the team members can see it, or
It's
do they
a
access this, or how does that work if you're working on?
it's a unidirectional API from Asana, which means we can pull boards from Asana into Kroolo.
So if you
Yeah,
have, go ahead.
Typically, Asana would be like Kroolo would displace a product like Asana.
Mhm.
So we have the one-way integration, so we can pull in everything you have in Asana, which means it's now visible in Kroolo, and I can apply Kroolo's AI to it, or continue to use Kroolo moving forward to manage all your Asana projects, which now would become Kroolo projects.
Can those discrete or those workers who might not be part of your defined organization, is there some kind of a way they can access this and see the tasks and those things that are
Yeah,
theirs? Or
there's 4 different permission layers of individuals that you can invite. So you have org owner, which would be like the owner of the platform. You can have org admins, general users, and then guests. But I have one better for you. What if, from a security perspective, I don't want a third party toying around in my project management system? We have a feature coming where you can basically share this project as a public board. It will give the end user or the target user a link, and then they can access this publicly on the internet, and you can expose both the dashboard and the list, and they will be able to view this. To take that a step further, to increase security, you can also have a target email address associated with the account. So they have to have both the link and they have to be coming from the email address that you've targeted. But it gives them this project that they can access publicly on the internet, and they don't have to have a login. And then they get to track all of the stuff that you're working on for them. And we can also expose the chat to that public board as well, which means that you can communicate with your end user, no matter who they are. They don't have to be a part of the Kroolo platform. That makes sense?
yeah, interesting. Okay,
Yep, 100%.
thank you.
But automations, like I said, this is very easy for us to build. If the target software has an API, it's very easy for me to explore what they offer and what kind of communication should be built. To expand on that a little bit further, we also have the codeless integration utilities on the horizon, like Make.com and Zapier. And so let's say that we don't have a particular automation built, you can probably build your own through the use of Make and Zapier. So those integrations are coming at the end of February.
Interesting. Um, so with Make and Zapier, if you are in a manufacturing setting, does that mean that you can interface with, I'm going to describe it as third-party devices that do
Third-party
stuff?
systems. Third-party systems.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So anything that lives and breathes and has an API, you can build an integration for once we have Make.com integration. It's really, really allows the platform to reach out there to other softwares. So we're really excited about that. But we're all the time, improving and building automations. We get the request for it, we'll build it, right? But the power of Make.com and Zapier is you could build your own if you want to. If we step outside of project management for a second, I want to give a tour of some of the major AI features that we have that are just from the ground up, that they're built strictly with AI. The first one is called Chat with Anything. Chat with Anything gives you the power to leverage a document extremely quickly. Now, I used an RFP documentation to build a project. When I didn't even read the documentation, I just used it to build the project. What if I actually need to read and sift through that PDF? We support all kinds of different document formats, but what Chat with Anything will do is if you feed it a PDF or a document, it will give you an instantaneous summary of everything that it finds in the document. So now I know that this RFP, this entity of this business is requesting a bunch of servers, right? Here's the deadlines, but also it gives you the capability to explore the PDF and you can extract information. So let's say I want to take this chart right here and I want to have the AI summarize this, or I want to break this out and put it into a document. You can just have AI extract that information, and then it'll give a summary of all those key dates, and then you can take that and put that in your project summary. So Chat with Anything is super useful. It's super powerful. It understands everything from architectural diagrams. So if I'm construction management company and I want to break down a floor plan and I want to ask it questions about square footage calculations, it will do that, right? You have the capability to have a conversation with AI about this floor plan. Or let's say that you want to analyze a spreadsheet. You're not sure. Someone hands you the spreadsheet. It's very complex, a lot of moving fields in it. It'll actually give you a document summary, and you can sit here and have a conversation with all the data in that spreadsheet, make heads or tails out of it, instead of trying to figure it out, for yourself. So Chat with Anything gives you the capability to really rip through information and digest it very quickly.
So with that data, just as an example, would you be able to, if you're doing a chat with Excel, could you say, take this data and make me a graph that looks like this?
Not yet, but you will be able to soon. So right now
Okay.
it's strictly for discerning information, but you'll be able to do actions with Chat with Anything pretty soon. Like what if I want to extract a bunch of information from a document and then build a project? You can maybe push the data to a project. Or maybe I want to push all this information to a document because I got to go to present on this. You'll be able to move all this information to the document center pretty soon. So we're working on features for that.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask another question?
Sure,
I don't want to monopolize people's time, but so if you're doing a project and you have resources, for example, how do you? I'm going to use the word train. How do you let this tool know what you have for resources to allocate those against the project?
Define resources. Are you talking about like human resources,
Let's
like a
talk about
workload?
let's just use it as humans
Gotcha.
right now.
You have a workload capability right here. So basically, when you have these different projects, you will have time allocated. Now, this is dependent upon the individual that's assigned to the project to actually list how much time that they've worked on this particular task. But if they do this, it will start to populate the workload. And then when the workload is populated and there's actual hours logged, AI is capable of accessing that information and then assessing and making interpretations based on what all is available to it. So the end user has to be documenting their time, but once they do, AI has access to that data to be able to make interpretations about, hey, how many individuals are overloaded this week, or give me a time summary on all the different individuals that I have working on this project, and it'll spit that out for you.
So when I have individuals assigned to or individuals participating in a project, do I have to enter those into the system manually, or can it take like a table?
No, so basically what happens is when I get assigned this task as an individual user, now I'm looking at this as a project manager right now. Well, let's say I've got a calendar date on this now. It's due February 12th, and then I assign Mr. Brandon here to this task. You'll notice that my task lights up. I have something to do that's now due February 12th. Okay. It is my responsibility as an individual contributor to then say, all right, well, it's going to take me, X amount of time to do this, and it's due February 12th. And then I want to make sure that I, as an individual, say, my estimated time is going to be this, right? And then I can come back later and flesh this out. But I need to put my time in here for the system to be able to track that moving forward.
Okay. Interesting. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope I didn't derail you too bad.
No, not at all. When you have your workload like that populated, then the system has access to all that information, and then you can ask it for a summary of the entire workload. You can see, you can get a chart or a list of, how many individuals of community have dedicated so many specific hours to the project. You can get insights on that. If that makes sense. So then we get into probably one of the most powerful features that we've built, and that's called AI agents. And you can think of AI agents as personas that you can access, that you can use to generate content. You can connect them to projects and have them perform analysis. But basically, they are personalities that you can assume that can accomplish different tasks. These are very powerful. So the best example, let's keep in line with our RFP, right? We built this beautiful project with an RFP, right? We've discovered what's in the RFP with Chat with Anything, so we know kind of exactly what's going on. But now I need to go present all this information to the team, and I need to put everything in a timeline. And then we need to determine if our company can actually, serve that RFP, right? Because if the timetables are too tight or if the dates are approaching, we're not going to be able to fulfill the necessary requirements. So instead of poring over all that information for hours, what I can actually do is go into an AI agent and I can say, you know what, let's build a project timeline based on that RFP. So I can tell my agent here that we're building, I can just tell it it's the RFP, right? We give you a pre-engineered prompt. You don't have to be an LLM expert. I'm going to enable the knowledge base of this agent. This is huge. This functionality allows you to provide the agent context. You can provide links, documents, YouTube videos, a project you've done in the past, or maybe a document that exists inside of Kroolo that you've used to accomplish something very similar. It will use all this information when it's considering building the content of the project timelines. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it the RFP. It's going to process that information pretty quickly. I like Claude Anthropic when it comes to generating content like this. ChatGPT is very good at writing code, very good at solving problems. Claude tends to be better at writing timelines and blogs and emails. So then I'm going to generate this, and it's going to analyze everything in that RFP document, and then it's going to build this beautiful, beautiful project timeline that I can take and put in our document management system. Even a visualization on the dates and procurement process that is in that timeline document. All that gets taken into consideration when it builds this plan for you. And when this is done, if you were using something like ChatGPT, you're probably going to go to another platform, right? Something like Google Docs or Drive. But with Kroolo, we already have a document management system. So I can just take this straight to document phase, view the document. Now I have this beautiful project timeline that sits in here. I can actually add more content to this. Let's say that there's a Google Drive slide or a doc or maybe even a Figma diagram or a YouTube video that I want to include in this beautiful document. I can do that. And then I can share this with colleagues. But again, I have my AI assistant here. And if I'm brand new to the company and I have no idea what's going on with this RFP documentation, I can simply start asking the AI assistant, hey, what's this document all about? Or, hey, look, who's responsible for overseeing the review process? Has someone been assigned to that? Right? And so you can definitely ask it questions about the particular content. So agents are humongously powerful. Like I said, they can generate content for you based on context and knowledge base. They can solve problems. They can write code. Pretty much the sky's the limit. But we do give you a library of agents, so you don't have to just start from scratch. So this makes it very accessible for someone that's not hugely experienced with AI, right? You can just start generating content with just a couple of clicks and feeding it some documents. It's very intelligent in that respect. Any questions about any of this?
So with some of the other tools, can you take this document that you created as the timeline, and could you have it automate the converting it into like a PowerPoint
We're
slide?
not that
Or
far yet. What you probably could do when we get a make.com integration is I could export this to Make, and then I could go find a third party that generates AI generated project presentations, and I could feed it that way. Or we do have the capability to export this document.
I
We
was
have
just
it in
gonna ask that.
we have it in Markdown language right now, but we're about to make this
Mhm.
live as a PDF, so you can basically export this as PDF and take it anywhere you want.
Yeah, awesome. I was gonna just ask that question. Cool.
Yeah, excellent question. Yeah, I think we might explore automatic PowerPoint presentation generation. That's something that seems kind of hot right now. Why have to build a PowerPoint
Well,
when AI can do it for you, right?
right. And I mean, if you have to give a project update, what a handy tool to be able to just take this in and do an executive summary and bang, there it is.
Yeah,
super,
it's
super
right then
handy.
and there. This thing is
Hmm.
amazing for educators,
Hmm.
for manufacturers. We had a customer the other day come to us. They're an actual educator at a school, and they have to build individual 504 or IEP plans. This is like if you have a student with a disability, you have to build an education plan tailored to that student. And so you just give the AI some instructions about what the particular student is, and it'll build you an entire 504 or independent education plan. So
So for something like that, I mean, and I'm gonna use the word specialized, and it's probably the wrong term, but for something like a 504 plan, how, do you have to feed some kind of structure into it about
no, the
building a
AI
504
already
plan?
understands what a 504 plan is.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is nuts. I'll give you another one. So, what's a really complicated one we done the other day? Okay, I don't know if you know what an EOS level 10 agenda is,
Hmm.
but it's like for a
I
board
sure
meeting.
do.
Okay, well, this understands EOS level 10 agendas.
Oh
So I
wow.
can just tell it an EOS level 10 brief summary, like just a couple sentences, and it'll build the entire level 10 agenda for me.
Wow, that's actually crazy.
I didn't do any of this.
Huh,
And it cites its sources. So you don't have
right.
to go chase hallucinations. Hallucinations in the AI world, or maybe something that the AI just made up that doesn't make sense. This actually cites the sources where it found all the information that it used to build the plan. So you can go validate this information very quickly when it builds it. But this is impressively accurate.
I admit that this might be off the ranch a little bit, but I'm gonna ask you a question.
Sure.
So what if I wanted to have some kind of a plan developed around doing a basic HIPAA security assessment? Could it
Yeah,
do
so
something
we
like
could do
that?
that.
Or,
Yeah, it can actually. So you could approach this from multiple places. So HIPAA is one of those things where you don't have to have an independent auditor come in and assess. It's basically you fill out your self questionnaire and you make sure
mhm,
you're abiding by their guidelines. But there is a process like you should walk through, right?
mhm,
And so you could approach that from multiple perspectives. So I could tell the project system that I want you to walk me through a HIPAA audit process. So, for example, let's go back to our projects here and let's tell the system HIPAA audit. Basically, I've told it,
mhm,
listen, I need you to build a project. We got an upcoming HIPAA audit that our business is about to conduct, and it's going to have to understand the HIPAA. I think they call it a SAC, self-assessment questionnaire that you have to
mhm,
walk through, right? So let's go ahead and generate that. Let's see what she comes up with.
mhm. So
So it even knew that there needs to be a gap analysis that's conducted periodically too.
Right,
So they have a project for that as well.
right. Well, I mean, the thing is like, so it might not completely take me out of it as a human who does this, but it makes it 80% faster.
Hmm.
And I can take those projects or those elements there and break them into subtasks if I have to, but it can generate the subtasks for. Yeah, so like I
Yes.
said, it might not be 100%, but it's
Hmm.
85%. My goodness, that's cool.
Yeah, let me show you something else I've done for the department. Well, I've done for a CMMC company that does Department of Defense cybersecurity
Hmm.
work. So there is a new framework called the NIST 800-171A. And
Hmm.
so if you're going to do business with the federal government now, you have to walk through the NIST SP 800-171A. And this is an extremely complicated framework. It has doctrines, and each of these doctrines have different subdomains. And each of these different subdomains have A through H. These items have to be completed. There's over 300 different individual tasks that need to be audited before you can get your CMMC compliance. And this is super painful, right? I don't want to live in a spreadsheet like this,
Hmm.
right? And so what I was able to do is I was able to take this framework and I built this as a digital project inside of Kroolo. So now I have the entire NIST 800-171A as a digital project. And so while we can't store control classified information, I do have a place that I can store my audit and evidence sources, and I have the power of AI to leverage if some of these tasks are not done or they're not filled. Because if you've ever walked through one of these exercises, some of these tasks are so nebulous, it doesn't even make sense what it's trying to ask. You really have to have a good cybersecurity background to kind of discern what it's actually asking for. And so having AI to leverage through something like this, that is a digital project, is extremely, extremely valuable because these frameworks can take a month or more, maybe even 6 months to audit through sometimes. And I see this a lot. There's a lot of businesses out there that I'm starting to see. They're like, we'll get you CMMC auditing in 30 days or less. And I'm just laughing. I'm like, yeah, okay. That's a funny wish that you got there. So, but something like this, powered with a company, we're actually entertaining partnering with another company. And once we have all their evidence documented and source, we can actually push this project to them. And their AI, since they hold all the classified or controlled unclassified information, will produce the attestation report, which takes weeks off the audit process, right? If you've got all your evidence documented, you can push that to a company that controls all the controlled information. They can build the report that goes to the government assessor, right? You don't have to do that by hand anymore. So that's just some of the small things that you can kind of build inside the platform.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Cool.
Well, before you talk, we got Megan here. Megan, do you have any questions for us now that you've been digesting this whole information?
This is a whole nother world, but it's amazing. I mean, it's everything I thought and more. So, but this is your guys' questions and conversations way above my level of experience. So I'm just ingesting it. But it's definitely something that we could definitely benefit from if, we were able to, obviously be trained. I don't have a background like you guys, obviously.
Well, here's how we make that easy. So obviously, I'm an engineer. I know nothing about project management. Well, not like an agile, certified project manager would. I more specify the background, but I'll tell you what, I can definitely how we usually do deployments and implementations. Customer tries out our product. They get to spend some time with me. I take you over the high level. If you actually become a customer, we partner with a company, and they specialize in project management. They will analyze your business, and if you want an automation build, they can build it for you.
Okay, perfect.
And so you don't quite have to be an expert, right? We have people that can do that for you.
Yeah, I'm all about outsourcing it now. We're trying to find the right,
that's
people
definitely an option, right? Or
Yeah.
even Paul or Keith might be able to do something like that as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Hey, Megan, the one thing I throw out there is that, and Brandon, you can tell me I'm stupid if I shouldn't mention this, but you can actually go out to the Kroolo website and sign up for a free account.
Mhm.
And it's a full featured thing. I think you're limited to 5 projects or something like that.
5 projects, 10 documents, something like that.
Yeah, but you can mess around with it. I've done
yeah.
that. I've done that, messed around with it, and
You can get real dangerous real quick.
yeah, it kind of it blows your mind. It does blow your mind, but that's a good way to kind of start understanding some of the capabilities and kind of get your arms around a little bit. So that's what I did.
All right, no, I definitely am interested in that. I definitely want to check it out.
Very cool stuff, honestly. So it's kind of like almost overwhelming. There's so much there's so much capability. It's like, thinking about how can I effectively use this tool? Because you can just sense it's a very powerful tool,
Yep. We're also a communications platform as well. So I don't know, people don't kind of pick up on that. Like we're not trying to replace Slack, but we can. Each project has its own room for you to communicate, right? And that's one of the biggest challenges I find with something like Slack is if your company gets so big, you're in hundreds and hundreds of rooms, right? Chat rooms. And so why not stick the communication that's relevant to the project with that room? And then if you want to build a channel, fine. And then one of the more interesting kind of features we've built around this is, let's say that I'm in this general room and somebody comes out with this great idea, right? That's related to one of these projects they're working on. So Brandon has a great idea for the directory integration project, right? right? If I'm a project manager, I'm going to have to go capture that. I'm going to have to go to the project management system, cut and paste, blah, 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 right? What you can do here is, since we're a project management platform, is I can take this message and I can say, all right, let's go ahead and convert this to a task in that project. So I can take this straight from a conversation that we've had in one of our channels right to that directory integration project, and now it exists as a task down here.
Well, that's good.
Right? I don't have to leave the platform to do that.
And this question is probably coming a little bit out of left field, but does it integrate with? So my question is, does it integrate with Teams? And just from the perspective of,
We do have some integrations with Teams, so we're meant to actually be a Teams replacement. But hey,
right,
you can't force people to leave these humongous platforms, right? And so if you go to our integrations area, you can see that we've had integrations with almost every communication platform out there. And Teams, based on defined rules, we can send messages to rooms. So like if a project gets completed, you can have that send a message to a specific Teams room, letting everybody know that it's done. Stuff like that.
If I'm working on a project team, my day is spent with my Kroolo screen up, and I'm interfacing that way. Primarily is kind of the intention, right? Is like, I'm going to live in a Kroolo world, and that's,
Yeah, but if
okay.
not, like, we can integrate with these other areas, right? And then when we have Make, the sky's the limit, right? Make and Zapier will really allow you to reach outside the platform. But some of these integrations are unidirectional, meaning one way, and some of them are bidirectional, meaning they can go back and forth. Yeah, these are fully optimized integrations, so they work really well. We're constantly overhauling. We had a customer the other day. They were so large. They were an Asana customer, and they were so large. I think they had like 500 plus projects. And our feature was originally designed to integrate board by board, but now we alphabetize the project list, and you can grab 10, 20 projects at a time. And so we had to pivot and kind of optimize that project based on the size of the customer, right? We were able to do that very quickly.